All right, I'm here on Long Island with Aljamain Sterling. Kind of a unique interview environment here, man. Back home, you just got home last night. Tell me where we are.
We are at J. Fallon in Elmont over here in Long Island. One of the bars over here. I've never been here before, but it's a unique experience for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, I mean, what does it feel like to come back home? I think as a champion, right, there's a lot of upside, but then there's some downside too, because like the UFC rolls in town for a fight night, and it's like, you know, I'm the champion, so I'm not going to be put on the card. Were you kind of bummed like they were coming back and you're not a part of this one?
Honestly, being from Long Island and getting to watch the fights and not have to worry about getting punched, I think it's a little bit of it's a little bit better. I get to kind of hang out, enjoy the fights, and a lot of good fights. There's no New Yorkers on this card, which is unfortunate, but for me, I can't fight in New York still. Hopefully they uplift that eventually, but if not, I mean, I'm happy to just come here and just be a part of the environment, watch the show, and be one of Long Island's proud UFC champions.
There you go, man. And I guess, you know, fighting in New York, you just said you can't do it, you're not able to. Is it something you feel like you can work on and like, has there been any progress or discussions, or is it just like they need to change the rules in order for you to fight here?
I think it's just a medical rule book thing, so if they change that, then I can fight here. I can fight literally anywhere else but New York, which makes no sense. I think they need to get their shit together. I love you, New York. I hate the traffic, but come on, get the shit together so that I can compete out here for all the fans, my hometown people that, you know, I grew up with, and just to be able to fight in New York one more time, because I fought as an amateur, which is crazy. They let me fight as an amateur on the Native American reservations, to make sure I'm being politically correct here, and haven't been able to fight here as a pro.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts, man. Obviously, whenever that moment does come, I'm sure it will be a pretty big deal for everyone involved. Talk to me about what your training regimen is right now, though. I know you just flew in last night from out west, and you just got here. So are you kind of splitting time for this, you know, going forward, or are you spending most of your time out there?
So for this one, I'm probably going to be mostly in Vegas because Merab's got his fight August 20th against Jose Aldo in the bantamweight division. So I got to help him. And since he wants to do the most of his training camp out there, we're going to have a couple of guys that are going to be on the Contender Series, 3 of them this summer from July to August. So I'm going to be out there with those guys as well. So I'm going to have a lot of my training partners in Vegas. So it just makes sense. I got a house. Merab lives 4 houses away from me. He has a house. So the training situation is perfect. I got mats in my garage. We got Extreme Couture. We got Syndicate MMA, 10th Planet BJJ, and we got the UFC PI. So what's better than that? I think the only thing we need to get is get the coaches out there to Vegas, and I think we'll have the perfect training camp situation.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I saw you split open Merab the other day. What was up with that? What was going on there?
You know, I was trying to be Jose Aldo, and I was trying to time some of the shots that I think he would throw. I threw an uppercut, and the knuckle of the glove, which wasn't padded. And the same thing, the UFC gloves aren't padded too, so it's just one of those things, a freak incident, and we went over the time limit. We sparred probably 6 minutes for that round, that first round, and literally at the very end, that's when he gets caught, when we realized, yo, dude, we went over the clock by like, literally, we were into the second round when we went and checked the clock, because the buzzer didn't go off. So it was kind of just a weird little thing, but he's got it stitched up, and Merab's a warrior, man. That guy's an animal. He doesn't give a shit. He'll just tape it up. Doesn't matter what's happening. He'll bandage his arm. Even if it's broken, he'll get out there and he'll compete.
Yeah, I mean, considering that he cracked open his head jumping into a pond recently, I think you're the kind of the least of his worries. But do you guys like that? Like, I know we have different sides of that fence, right? 2 training partners that kind of have a fight coming up. Do they like both preparing for a fight, or do they prefer to focus on one person or the other? Where do you fall in that? I mean, you guys are in the same division. Do you like that you guys are both probably going to fight around the same time potentially?
Yes and no. I think this one is good because Merab is my main training partner at 135. So to have him in shape, in his prime, getting ready to go against a tough competitor, is going to only push me to be better. I know there's going to be that 3-week drop-off where he's going to just be fighting, need some time to relax. And just in case he gets banged up, we never know. You know, it's the fight game. Things get crazy sometimes. So I'm just happy to be in training camp with him, the way he's been there for me, helping me for my training camps. He'll do 3 rounds out of the 5, and then I'll jump in with Dennis Bazookia, or I'll jump in with somebody else for the last 2 rounds, or vice versa. So it's a blessing to have a guy like that. And when you're both in shape and getting ready and focusing on a goal, I think it makes things that much better. So I think the fans are in for a good show because I'm going to be pushing him. He's going to be pushing me.
Yeah, that's great, man. I guess give me the latest. I know last we heard from you, there was some elevator pay that you wanted to see come with that contract offer that you had not received. Has there been any update or any progress in that? Have you gotten an offer that you like?
I believe my management has been talking with the guys over there. Now, just so people don't get it twisted, because I got a lot of mixed commentary on that. Never in my UFC career have I, even in my fight career, have I been paid the same exact thing after winning. That's all I was saying. So I'm not asking for $2 million, $3 million. I'm not asking for anything like that. I'm not trying to change the game, so to speak, you know? I mean, that would be nice.
Right.
Dana, that would be nice. I could be the milk boy.
No, and I'll say, that's a known thing in this industry. Even when a fighter signs at, 12 and 12 or whatever, they bump up by 2s or 3s or whatever, and then they bump up by 5. So I guess, champions, that same thing happens. So, this is a case where you thought there was a legitimate error with what you were handed. Am I right?
From what I understand, in the contract, there wasn't actually like an escalator for winning. There was only an escalator for the challenging and then winning. So there wasn't no particular part that said in the contract that we wouldn't get an escalator. So I was just like, hey, that wasn't in the contract, because if it was, I can't complain. But I would like to try to, get a little pay bump. That's it. I'm not asking for much. I just want to get a little pay bump so I can secure myself and my family, and I got a lot of people to take care of, man, and especially for my future. So I'm just trying to do the right things. And at the end of the day, man, we are in the Premier League. The UFC is the best organization, in my opinion, and Dana White's done a great job. So I appreciate him and everything he's done, but at the end of the day, the same way he is, he's about the business, I'm about the business too. So hopefully we can make something happen and make some magic.
Yeah, I mean, everybody involved has to advocate for themselves to a certain degree. I think that's what you were doing there. So I guess that begs the question, in your mind, are you fighting TJ Dillashaw on September 10th right now?
In my mind, I'm fighting TJ Dillashaw, TJ Dillashaw, Mr. EPO. But at the end of the day, the fans want the fight. I think Dana and everybody else who's above, they're going to see that the fans want the fight, and we'll work something out. So I think that's the most important thing, just making sure everyone comes to terms. And I'm going to do my part. I sell the fight. I talk my shit, and I back it up. So at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So I'm excited for it. TJ is one of the most winningest bantamweights in this division. I think I'm second behind him or tied. And they didn't count my Barao win because that was a catch weight at 140, but it should have counted because I didn't ask for a catch weight. The commission did, and that was the week of the fight too, which is insane to me. They just changed it. I was like, wait, what? I could have been training a lot differently, but it is what it is. So again, TJ is one of the most winningest guys, so for me to beat him and to prove the doubters wrong once again, I think it only further cements my legacy and what I've done in the sport, and I'm excited to do that.
So I guess my next question is, would you consider that you're in a training camp right now? Is it prepare until you're told otherwise?
I'm definitely in a training camp right now.
I guess that leaves some questions. We'll leave some questions to the viewers. But talk to me about the matchup. Obviously, you talked about what it means to you, but the style matchup in this division. I mean, where do you think TJ ranks? Is he one of the toughest tests out there for you? Is this the toughest challenge available?
You know what? I thought he was the weakest of the three link between him, Cejudo, and Aldo. But after watching his fight again with Sandman, he did some really, really good things. And I kind of have a little bit different of an opinion now. It's going to be a tough fight, regardless. He's going to come forward. He's going to be nonstop action. Piotr is a little bit different. He's kind of more reserved, but he'll pressure you until he can land a kill shot. I think with this fight, he's going to be more active, more volume, and I think that's what excites me the most because I got to be on my P's and Q's, and I got to make sure I style on this guy and get style points this time because the fans want to see, the fans at the end of the day, they want blood, so I got to make sure I deliver.
No doubt, man. Obviously, your boy Merab has a big fight coming up here, too. I know you've said in the past, maybe you would step aside or whatever and let him fight for the title. I mean, how tough of a decision, whatever happens, I mean, is that something that you just totally table until you get there because it's just such a difficult thing? Or have you guys actually had in-depth conversation about what it would come to?
No in-depth conversation, but I think we both care about each other very much. I don't think there's a me without him, and I think he would say the same about himself for him. I just think we helped each other so much that it's really tough to just go, I would fight this guy, I think it's a little bit different with some of these other guys that fought each other that used to be friends. Maybe the relationship wasn't as strong as they thought it would be, or maybe people put dollar signs over things that should be valued a little bit more, But to each his own. I'm not judging nobody. At the end of the day, I really look at him like a brother. The guy would take his shirt off of his back if I was freezing and give me his shirt. That's the type of guy Merab is, So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with his fight. Hopefully he gets the job done. That's a good situation to be in. Both guys winning, both guys from Long Island, and both guys at the top of the division. So we'll figure it out, and we'll make things work.
Sitting at the top of the throne right now, bantamweight. If you look at the field right now, who do you think is the biggest fight for you out there that would be possible? Is it Henry Cejudo? Is it Sean O'Malley if he were to come up? Who do you think the biggest one is that would make you the most money, that would get the people most invested? Doesn't have to be like in the immediate, but...
I think O'Malley down the line, but right now I think TJ is probably the biggest draw in terms of what he's done, the storyline behind it, him coming back and him coming clean after he got caught. He came clean after he got caught. You can't come clean after you got caught. I think a lot of people want to see what he's made of, so I'm excited. I'm excited about it. It's an exciting time to be a bantamweight, and it's finally one of those things where the bantamweight division is getting some respect on their name, and people can see that we can crack. We got skill. We got endurance, cardio for days, most of us. And it's just a skill set, man. It's not like we're going out just one punch, you're out, but at the same time, we could do that. At the same time, there is some technique behind it, and it's not just winging shots. You have to be good. I didn't get to the top by accident, and TJ didn't get to the top by accident either.
Got two more questions for you. I appreciate the time, man. I know you're back here for the first time in a while, so I do appreciate that. I guess in terms of the Henry Cejudo, if you were to matchmake him, who would you put him up against?
Well, him and Sean O'Malley keep flirting with each other, so why don't these guys get a room and figure it out, see who comes out, the last man standing, That's the way I look at it. I think it's a good matchup. It gives both guys a really good test, because Cejudo really thinks he's this God-sent guy, and O'Malley thinks he's this God-sent guy. So let's find out who's who. I think that's the best thing you could possibly do, or maybe have Cejudo fight Petr Yan. So I think that those are the matchups I'll probably have. And I think Cejudo's really good, very tough competitor, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm a little wishy-washy on him. I just feel like all his wins are a little bit questionable. He beat TJ Dillashaw at 25. He beat Marlon Moraes. That's the only one I can say, because Marlon did send me to the Shadow Realm. I will admit that. He sent me to the Shadow Realm. I came back a brand new man. I underestimated him. I fucked up. And I got what I deserved. Came back, realized you can't take nobody lightly, because that's what can happen. And then he beat him. Beautiful comeback win. And I think that's probably his most notable win. Outside of name value, you could say Dominic Cruz, but Dominic Cruz took that fight on short notice. And he tells me he fights the best. I say, but you didn't fight the best at their best. If you were to fight Dominic Cruz now, it's a different fight. I really do think it's a different fight.
I want to ask you this too. I think something that's kind of been not ignored but overlooked is, like, going into that last fight, there was a lot of people that doubted you, right? And we talked about what would it be like to prove the doubters wrong? What would it be like to prove all these people that comment on social media wrong? And you did that. Now that you're here, do you feel like a fight against Dillashaw, a guy that's maybe fans don't like for different reasons? Like, do you feel like between your last win and this, like, you could come out of this whole thing, I know you never really cared, but like a pretty big hero?
I think it just depends on how I win. I think that's the main thing. People like when you win, but it also depends on how you win. I mean, people are giving, like Izzy, they're giving him backlash for all the shit he talks before the fight, and then he goes out and he wins by decision. So I get it, rightfully so. You can have your opinion. I still think Izzy's one of the best. So even for myself, people are going to say what they want to say. So I think for me to beat TJ, I think it does for a lot for my career. But if I go out there and I finish TJ, I think I'm the man and my shit don't stink.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate the time. I know you got some more training camp beverages to take in here in a minute with our friend Oscar, but appreciate the time, Aljo. Thanks, man.